Fear is not difficult to spot. It's just that it operates in very different ways and asks very different things of us depending on where we go looking for it. I guess we pays our money and we takes our choice. So, which experts should we believe? Who has the best answers to the problem of fear? Keep watching. You might be in for a shock. Fear can strike us anywhere, at any age. Let's take an example. Fear of public speaking. It may not be the worst fear to have, but it's probably one most of us can relate to. From an evolutionary perspective, public speaking anxiety can be explained as an inherited response, rooted deep in the history of our species. Perhaps ancestors who were cautious and alert in front of a group may have been more likely to survive by avoiding the potential for dangerous confrontation. This could also have helped our ancestors avoid the risk of social rejection, thus increasing their chances of reproduction. Or is fear God-given? We tend to allow gods and other spiritual jacks of all trades to live in places that represent any impasse or emptiness in our knowledge about how we all got here and why. This, ultimately, makes them responsible for us, our design, and the choices we're allowed to make, including the fear of public speaking. Perhaps it's God's way of promoting humility and self-reflection, or personal growth, or to remind us just why we can't do without them. In terms of biology, public speaking anxiety ends up being a physiological response, one determined by our genes. Fear triggers stress hormones and leads to increased heart rate and sweating, which leads to a sense of unease and physical anxiety. Fear is no more than this. So be logical. There's nothing to be afraid of here, folks. It's just the body doing its thing. The neurological viewpoint looks only at how our brain reacts to fear. Different brain regions, such as the amygdala, can then be made responsible for fear. Neurotransmitters like serotonin play a role in regulating anxiety levels. And differences in brain structure and connectivity make fear a truly individual experience. Psychologists, on the other hand, tell us that anxiety might result from negative self-perceptions or concern about the judgment of others. Or it might be because of learned behaviours or our social conditioning. The sociological perspective argues that social norms do more to affect us. Perhaps some embarrassment or reticence is expected of us. Perhaps it is our sense of identity, or the cultural demands around individualism or self-presentation that leads to fear. And what about psychoanalysis? This might point to unconscious conflicts, unresolved childhood experiences, or deep-seated fears about self-worth, or failure, or our desire for approval. All of these ideas seem to say something important about fear. Yet the truth is they can't all be right, no matter how convincing each might be on its own terms. Some forget about parts of the body that show distinct reactions to fear. Others are interested in what can be seen and recorded overall, but are less interested in what is felt or experienced personally. Some accept and some reject the way we think about fear. Some like measuring things. Some like adding things up. Some deal only with thoughts or ideas. Each will reject the views of others, even when they have really helpful suggestions to make about fear and what to do about it. Scientists Those who are interested in building clear ideas and predictable outcomes and repeatable findings generally accept that they can't agree fully on what fear is, and as a result, how best to tackle it. However, they would all agree that it might take more than their own particular recipes and approaches. Fear ends up being a peculiar concept, one that is both straightforward and incredibly complex. On the surface, and according to some definitions, it's a simple emotion, a response to perceived danger or threat, a survival mechanism that helps us navigate the world around us. Yet, as we dive deeper into its meaning, the true nature, shape, potential, and purpose of fear becomes ever more opaque and increasingly ambiguous. Is it something to be conquered and overcome? Or ultimately, the essence of life, the driving force of our inspiration and motivation? Is it physical, in our bodies, or does it start in our brains? Do we learn fear or inherit it? Is it caused by other people, or is it a weakness and all our own fault? And that's the point here, really. Fear is a complex and difficult business. If someone tells you it's just one thing, or it's this, or it's that, and that they have an instant answer to it, be afraid. Be very afraid indeed. Leave them to their lies and to their own particular brand of snake oil. What do you think? Will we ever understand fear? What approach offers the best solutions? And which ideas are simply ludicrous or even dangerous? Press that subscribe button for your free guided journey through the many and varied lands of fear. We'll show you what fear really is and what you can do when you come across it. If that takes your fancy, then give us a like and a share. We'll continue the journey next time. Until then, take care and remember, we have nothing to fear but ignorance.